My name is Bruce Payton.
Jennifer's Black.
I'm Lou Bazarski.
Climate change is the biggest threat to our future in human history.
You know, one could also talk about climate change as a spur to action. You know, this is not a done deal.
It's a crisis, no question about it. Crisis means a turning point. Disaster is one of the ways you can go with it. Opportunity is the other.
It really means the rather dramatic disruption of a lot of natural systems rather more quickly than we're able to deal with.
For a combination of geophysical and socio-economic reasons, the people who will suffer the most are the people who've had some of the least responsibility for emissions and are some of the poorest on the planet.
So one of the impacts of climate change is that it imposes changes on those people who are least able to get out of the way. So for example, something like half the population of Bangladesh lives in floodplains. That means that climate change isn't something hypothetical for them. It's something, it means that every few years they're at risk of catastrophic floods. So every one of us in our daily decisions is helping contribute to their risks.
What's more basic to human beings and human rights than air you can breathe and water you can drink and soil that is arable and oceans and rivers that are alive and climate that you can at least anticipate.
In climate change, we're shifting gears now from a focus on how to prevent climate change to a realization that we've waited too long, that we are now starting to see some rather dramatic effects of climate change, and so we need to be simultaneously preventing future problems but also helping people deal with the change that we've already set in motion. And some of those are really troubling because as we have potentially another billion or 2 billion more mouths to feed over the next couple of decades, we've got less arable land, we've got fewer fisheries, we've got disrupted climate patterns in the oceans, meaning fisheries may be disrupted. So we really need to be doing much more to figure out how do we adjust to particularly disruptions in our food security. That's huge, and I think the implications are tremendous if we do not deal effectively with that. In terms of wars, conflicts, famines, health problems, that's a desperate need, and I don't think it's getting the attention it needs.
The way that most people think and talk about this is through scenarios. There are multiple scenarios, and they hinge on what we do in this next period. As I tried to suggest, we are in for a period of global warming. It seems that's what the scientists are telling us. And the question is how much?
Environmental justice is difficult to define.
Well, if we think about the fundamental issue of justice is in terms of some kind of equity or fairness, then one can say the fundamental issue of environmental justice is the appropriation of natural resources, of ecosystem services by some and not others. The some tend to be the rich.
Environmental justice really means being fair to everyone.
It's a matter of justice that cuts across generations. How dare we think in terms of consuming and trashing the planet and leaving nothing for the survival of our grandchildren. I mean, that's sort of the way we're tearing at it right now.
I'm an optimist about human rights. I believe that we've got the know-how to set up systems that overcome the shortcomings of governance systems right now. That a combination of involved businesses, cooperating governments, and civil society organizations that are both enabling cooperation and keeping all the players honest.
Thank goodness there are more and more people who are getting out on the front lines, who are building coalitions across all kinds of interests, who are beginning to understand that human rights cannot be defended individually with respect to one right and one set of people, that there are many rights that have to be defended, and all the rights of all the people have to be defended. We have to work together on it. So there's a lot of progress being made.